Welcome to I Got a Guy podcast, a podcast carefully designed to introduce a wide range of very talented and highly skilled professionals ready to share their knowledge and advice with you. Please welcome the host of I Got a Guy podcast, Michael Drelichars. Welcome to I Got a Guy podcast. I'm your host, Michael Drelichars. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate the loyal listeners that are subscribing to our show and downloading every week. I know we're providing awesome content with a wide range of guests, and we continue to do that again this week. So I wanted to, for our new listeners, I wanted to let you know that if you want to find any past episodes, you can go to igotaguypodcast.com. That's igotaguypodcast.com. And we just started recently putting our shows out on YouTube as well, so you can see us as well as listen to us. So if YouTube is a more comfortable place for you to watch a podcast, feel free to go there as well. I Got a Guy podcast. You'll find us there. Each week we do have a different guest on the show, and this week we have a returning guest. This gentleman was on our show several months ago, shortly after we got started, actually, with our podcast. So we're able to come back and catch up with our guest this week. And as I've mentioned in the past, the show comes from, it was actually born out of a book called The Go-Giver. The Go-Giver, it was a pivotal book for me. I've read it several times, and it really helps get your arms around how valuable networking is. And there's 5 laws of stratospheric success listed in the book. And when you read through this book, it really kind of gets your arms around the whole thing. And one of the laws is the law of value, and it's defined as give more in value than you receive in payment. Give more in value than you receive in payment. And this law ties directly to our guest this week, because he delivers so much value each and every day of his life and in his businesses and to his clients. And it far exceeds whatever he may earn in that. But he really does it from the bottom of his heart. And I so appreciate him. And I want you to get to know Raghu Sundara of Always Be Connecting. So, Raghu, welcome to the show again. Thank you for being with us, and glad you're here.
Thank you for having me, Michael. I really appreciate you having me on your show again. And I love watching all your podcast episodes. I always learn so much about the people in our community and their businesses and truly what their why is.
Yeah, and that's really that's an important component, because we're all in our own individual circles, but we intersect at points as well. And being able to share why we do what we do just helps everybody grow, helps everybody get better and grow our businesses and serve more people. And you, so tell us a little bit about Always Be Connecting. You started this a few years ago now, and tell us a little bit about that.
So it was really born out of me just out networking for 15 plus years. Joined all the different chambers of commerce. I was in insurance. I'm still in insurance. I own an insurance agency. That's how I got into networking in the first place. Mm-hmm. And what I saw was a lot of referral groups, networking organizations, people that really care about instant gratification, about getting something that they're a part of. And when I read the Go-Giver book that you talked about, that changed everything for me about defining what truly giving is, about doing it for the right reasons, and about relationships instead of about the instant return on joining a chamber or a club or a referral group. And so, getting into networking when I opened up my insurance agency about 5 years ago, when I got out of corporate America, I just started going out on a lot of coffee meetups and lunches with people, small business owners in the northwest suburbs of Chicago here, for the sole purpose of being a connector who happened to own an insurance agency. That was my main goal. And I set out to meet with 20 business owners a month, 20 business days a month, 20 business owners a month that I would meet with. That was a simple goal of mine. 4 years into it, I realized that I had met with over 1,000 business owners, and I had learned so much about give and take.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were one of the people that I met when we joined the same referral group together about 4 or 5 years ago now. And
Right.
I learned so much from our conversations, and multiply that by all the different things that I've learned from my network, as I call them, my squad, about relationships, about about prospects, about how we can learn from each other when it comes to SWOT analysis, about our strengths or weaknesses, and so on. And it inspired me to open up Always Be Connecting, which is I'm a networking coach who helps people be the live version of LinkedIn. So you got people who help people with digital marketing, SEO, and that's through the air, that's social media. I help people get better with ground networking in person and
Belly to
even
belly.
one on one, belly to belly. Yep.
Yep.
Collaboration, even collaborating with your competition. How can you learn from your competition? How can you learn from your clients? Your clients can help you get more. Actually, a lot of people want referrals. You can get more than referrals from your clients. You can get power partnerships, or
Yep.
COIs as people call them, centers of influence introductions. And so really people don't know how they can help you if you're not ready to receive. So that other law of receptivity, when you talk about the
Yep.
Go Giver book,
Yep.
be ready for how you can, what you can ask for from people when they do ask you, hey, Michael, how can I help you? A lot of people will just be just very general about it. Oh yeah, you can just keep referring me.
Yeah. But
Instead of just
that
say
is
keep referring me, come up with something specific.
right. For years and followed a sales trainer by the name of Tom Hopkins, and one of his mantras was, "In order to be terrific, you must be specific,"
I
and
love
that
that.
really
I'm actually
applies.
gonna steal that.
That really applies to this law of reciprocity. And it's defined by the effective giving is to stay open to receiving. You have to be humble and respectful and be open to receiving. And when somebody asks how can they help, you need to be specific. And this book, The Go Giver, I actually learned of the book from you. So I thank you for that because it really has changed so much. And this whole podcast actually came from wanting to help more people. I don't charge to be a guest on my show. I welcome my referral partners and my customers to come on the show because if I can help you grow, it not only it feels right in my soul, but my business grows as well. But that's an offshoot. The primary goal here is to help all my customers and all my referral partners grow their businesses, and we all become more successful because of it. And that is very, very powerful. So
Absolutely.
you've been able to take that concept now and fold it into a business where now you can go to a small business, maybe a startup business, or maybe a younger business that may be struggling to get their feet on the ground, and help them use the power of networking to grow their business.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know where to start. If
Right.
they're not a part of an organization, they might feel they might be reserved on how to just jump in and dive in, how to break clicks, so to speak, at a
Mm-hmm.
networking event,
Mm-hmm.
who to talk to, where to start, um, and even seasoned people. Seasoned people sometimes are in the wrong networking groups or they're in the wrong organizations because it's comfortable for them. They're in their comfort zone. And they tend to go to the same people and talk to the same people all the time. And if you're not growing your network, then you're really not learning anything new either because you're talking to the same people and people are not challenging you. The people around you should make you better. And so you owe it to your friends, your family, and your clients to have the best network possible. And in order to have the best network possible, it's got to be growing constantly in more than just numbers, but in quality, in
Mm-hmm.
diversity, when it comes to even perspective, when it comes to industry. Because when somebody comes to you and they say, hey, Michael, do you know a good painting company? You need to be ready to say, look, I have somebody for you. I have a couple different options.
Right.
Where where do you need them? Well, I need them in the southwest suburbs. Well, you might know somebody in the southwest suburbs that you can refer because you've used them before, or somebody that
Right.
you know has used them
Right.
before, and you know them personally.
Yep.
And it's all about being on the same page with your referral partners. Um, Referrals are not just
Yep.
about sending business people's way. It's about being a sounding board for people as well.
Yeah. Being a resource. Um, and so many of the clients I work with, let's say a lot in my business, my vehicle tracking business, I work with a lot of contractors, and they got started turning wrenches, whether they're mechanics, they're plumbers, they're carpenters, they're drywall people, but they got started with the tool in their hand, and they decided to start their own business, which is great. I applaud them, but a lot of them don't. They're sometimes intimidated or just lack the knowledge of how to actually grow a business through networking, and so they're in a lot of cases they're great at their trade, but they're not good at making connections and building relationships because that's just not what they've ever done. And so somebody like you coming in to help them get their arms around this and give them some guidance. And I know you've done some, you do the belly to belly, you work with them, you walk with them, you take them to networking groups, you show them, you don't just tell them, but you show them how to be effective and building new relationships and getting out of their comfort zone, which is hard for a lot of people. It's not a natural skill for some people.
Yeah, it's definitely not, and it's really
Yeah.
leaning into
Yes.
what
Tell
makes them
us a bit
special
about
too.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, yeah.
Yeah. So
So it's really about finding out what the person is good at. Find out the why behind why don't they feel comfortable going to a certain situation, and peeling that back and saying, okay, you don't feel comfortable being in front of a group of 8 people. Okay, let's start with a group of 2 or 3 people. Let's go to lunch with 2 or 3 people, people that you know, and let's just start there conversations and just like grow the atmosphere, grow the arena into a spot where we figure out at what point do you become uncomfortable, and then ask why do you become uncomfortable. Some people feel, here's an example. Some people feel like they don't want to join a referral group or even go to a networking group because they have nothing to give. Well, they think they have nothing to give until they actually realize that they actually go or even have a conversation with people and ask the right questions about how can I help Michael? Like, what good clients do you have?
right,
Who are you trying to target? What industry are they in? And then you might realize that you might know somebody personally that might be a good client for Michael. You might know somebody who could be a good referral source for Michael and say, "Hey, let me give you a warm introduction to them." And then what goes around comes around. But even if
right,
Michael doesn't refer me back, at least I was a good friend to Michael, and he'll remember that. And then even to my personal friend that I referred to you, that
right,
person's going to refer me for something that I do eventually.
right. Yeah, it's interesting how the web gets built very very thoroughly, and but just from a couple connections, it just starts to expand exponentially, and before you know it, it comes around. They talk about 6 degrees of separation. If you're an effective networker, I think it's more like 3 degrees of separation. Because
Absolutely.
you really start to know people, and effective networkers know other effective networkers, and you can become an effective networker if you're not today, and then it just exponentially starts to grow. And I've known so many business owners that have uh, been in that category where they struggle with their confidence, um, and they don't have that inner drive, but they get introduced to the right people, and it just starts to blossom, and it's like an awakening, and it's remarkable. So what type
Yeah,
of
it's
clients do you
totally
work
amazing.
with? Yeah, what type of clients do
A
you
wide
work with?
range.
Yeah.
A wide range. So anyone, like my first client was a chiropractor, and I've had attorneys, I've had people who own flooring companies, people who own exercise gyms, and other fellow insurance agents. So it's a wide range. It's pretty much people that are open to growing their comfort zone, and people that are totally open to the fact that networking is a marathon, not a sprint. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks. It might take 8 months for you to keep going back to the same well, to the same club, or the same group before they know who you are and they start referring you
Right.
because you've given something to them. They need to know you. In order to trust you, just like clients, they need to know you. They need to know what your why is. They need to know who you are, what you do, and why you do it. And really, who's a good client for you? How can you help them? What's your competitive advantage? And
Mm.
so I'm really just looking for people that care about the long-term process, right? Building relationships with power partners.
Yeah. I think your point about being a marathon, not a sprint, is really important because I've been in networking groups where people will walk in and literally just pass out their business card to everybody, and they're shocked when they don't get a bunch of phone calls, and it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So you have to build a relationship. People have to trust you. You have to establish yourself, build some some friendships and some good relationships, and it just doesn't happen in a flash. You have to it takes time. But now you also, so you when you said you work with a wide variety of companies, you're talking about business to business and business to consumer businesses, right? I mean, really all
Yeah,
walks of life. No, there's no
all walks of
niches
life. Yep,
that are excluded from this.
they're not. I thought there would be when I started this business, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to expect. But what I found is that everyone cares about relationships. Whether you're even if you're buying
Right.
internet leads or you're spending a lot of money on Google ads, that doesn't. I'm not telling people to stop spending money on that stuff. I'm just saying there's what I found that there's always an extra channel. You shouldn't get your business all from one channel, because if you do, once that dries up, or you know, if something happens, you're totally dependent on that one channel and it dries up, you're going to be hurting. And so relationships will never go away. There's a lot of businesses that care about relationships. It's about the building relationships. You can build relationships, you can't build transactions. That's right. So you build relationships, you don't build transactions.
Exactly.
Transactions are just boom, boom,
Right.
boom. And the referrals that you get from relationships are way stronger than just the one-off transactions. If somebody comes to you for price, for example, the referral that you're gonna get from them is really gonna care about price more times than not, right? But if you get referrals because somebody trusts you and they like the work that you've done and they know what you're about, the referrals that you get from that person are going to be way better. They're going to truly care what you're about. They're not going to shop you as much either, versus somebody who shops you online and finds you through the internet. They're probably shopping other companies that do what you do as well. And so,
Right.
really, I'm about helping people. I'm all about bringing people together, whether it comes to
Hmm.
you know building a referral group, helping one of my clients build an event that they're having, whether it's a prospecting event or it's a customer appreciation event, or it's building their own circle of, for example, a trades organization. I run a thing called Trades Connect, and what that's built out of is I had some people in the trades that own trade companies, painting company for to be specific. They had they were just saying, "Hey, Raghu, you do all these networking events. I would love to do a networking event only for tradespeople." So I worked with them and we built it, and we've done 8 of them over the last year and a half, and it's going really smoothly. And that's an event. Another one I've done is through one of my clients. It's a health and wellness event, and that's every other month, and that's been going for about a year and a half as well. What that does is it puts those people, my clients, makes them relevant and people that uh, makes them people who other folks want to gravitate towards. right? They're building their
Because they have a
network.
common
It's
link.
easy to find them. It's a common link. And they're speaking the trades language. They're speaking the health and wellness language there. People always want to belong, right? You talk about
Yeah,
diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. People want to belong. That's why they join a club. That's why they join organizations. And yeah, they want
that's right.
business out of it, but they also want to belong. And that's why I help people get better at feeling more comfortable in those types of circles.
Right. And I'm gonna dive into that a little deeper here after our break. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, but I want to dive deeper into that because I have a couple thoughts that I think can resonate with our audience. But before we take our break, Raghu, share with us how somebody would reach you at Always Be Connecting. What's the best way to them to contact you?
Yeah, so there's the best way is to just email me at Raghu at alwaysbeconnecting.net. So it's RAGHU at always be, so it's spelled out BE, alwaysbeconnecting.net for networking.
Okay, alwaysbeconnecting.net. Raghu at all. Okay, great. That's the best way to reach out to you to find out more information about your company and how you might help them get started in this process.
Definitely.
Okay, great. I'm going to put that in the show notes. It's going to be on the screen as well for our YouTube viewers, and it'll be in our show notes for our audio listeners, and we'll be able to definitely to connect with you. Now, when to our listeners, when you do reach out to Raghu, make sure you tell them that you heard about him here on I Got a Guy podcast. It's a great. We want to connect the dots and make sure we're serving our communities. So, love to have that shared back and forth. We're going to take a short break and then come back. We're going to share some more details and talk about a couple of successes that you've had as well, Raghu. So stick with us, and we'll be back in about a minute or so, and we'll continue with Raghu Sundara from Always Be Connecting. Be right back. We certainly hope you're enjoying this week's episode, and we'll return to this week's guest in just a moment. But now a message from our sponsor, Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. If you own a fleet of vehicles, even if it's just 2 or 3 vehicles, GPS tracking is an important component for every vehicle. Here are the 5 top reasons companies invest in GPS tracking: driver safety, vehicle location, driver behavior, proof of service, and monitoring vehicle maintenance. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions can enhance your growth and profit through the use of GPS tracking technology. Reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions at www.precisefleettracking.com. That's precisefleettracking.com. Or call 847 865 6008. That's 847 865 6008. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. GPS tracking made simple. Now, let's get back to the show. Okay, we are back. Thank you for sticking with us. I am Michael Drelichars, host of I Got a Guy podcast. Thank you so much for being here this week, and encourage you to share this podcast with your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, your business associates, and definitely want to get the word out with all of our awesome guests. And this week is no different. This week our guest is Raghu Sundara from Always Be Connecting. Raghu and I have been friends for many years now and work together and network together a lot, and been able to provide a lot of great, valuable information back and forth. So, Raghu, thank you so much again for being a guest again this week.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, Raghu, we were talking before the break about always be connecting and how you help businesses get started and start building relationships and you become comfortable in the networking process. And you touched on an interesting point that a lot of times, especially nowadays, a lot of people are shopping for price. And what I wanted to touch on is I really believe that when business owners build relationships with each other and they start referring business back and forth, and they actually build a friendship back and forth, price is always important, but is not then doesn't become the most important component. So, when you're serving your clients, you obviously serve them very well. Whatever business you're in, you're going to do the best you can, provide great customer service, great value, but you don't have to give the farm away and be the cheapest product in the market because you have this relationship and this trust with each other. So you can build your business can be profitable and yet serve your clients really well and grow it exponentially and then grow more referrals because you're providing awesome service. I think it's rare that companies will share a success about, oh, I just did business with this company only because they were the cheapest. But what they will talk about is, I did business with this company and then they did a great job. They were great customer service. They were very responsive. And that's what grows a business. And you can grow a profitable business by providing really good customer service and then exponentially growing that through the relationships that you have through networking. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I see it all the time where people, when somebody tells me, "Hey, you should use this person," they don't say you should use this person because they're the lowest price. They tell me you should use, Joe because he's good at this and this and he helped me with this. They talk about stories instead
Right.
of price. And when they're talking about stories of, and you're talking about being specific, they're being specific about how they helped him or who they helped before. And when you talk about things like that, everyone can relate to stories. It's tough to relate to price.
Right. Yeah, price is so subjective, and frankly, right now there always seems to be somebody that's willing to do it for cheaper, not better. And when we spend our money on whatever it is, a consumer product, our business products, you want to know that you're getting good value, and you get something that's going to last, and you're going to get return on that investment, not just throw your money out the window. So I really think that that's an important component to building a successful business. You have to be profitable, otherwise, it's a race to the bottom, and you won't last.
You're right. You're right. How you build it from the start is going to be how it goes. And
Right.
I totally agree with exactly what you just said.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. So you've been doing this now for a while, and you've got some really amazing success stories. You're able to get some businesses that are, just starting out. Tell us a little bit about some of those successes that you've had. So, and I really want our listeners to think about how you've been able to help a company, and you might be able to help them as well.
Yeah. So I had somebody that was not new to networking, but new to their industry. And so it wasn't that they didn't feel comfortable networking. It was more about strategy. It was
Hmm.
they had been a part of a group, a referral group for about 3 or 4 years when I met them. And the problem that they had was they weren't getting anything from the group. And they were actually giving referrals and giving their time. And so what we did, we just evaluated, figured out how much time were they spending there. Um, what are they doing one-on-ones with people in the group? There were 15 members of the group that this person was a part of, and just realized that it was time to look at other groups. And so I helped them identify and find a different referral group where they checked it out. It was for them. It matched up. I coached them on going on one-on-ones with the key people in the group to make sure that it was, it felt comfortable. It was organic. It just felt right. And so what happened was they joined that new group and left the other one. And within 8 months, they had 6 referrals that were inside referrals, which means people in the group referred themselves to this person's business. And then they had 2 outside referrals. So that was 8 referrals. In an outside referral, meaning somebody in the group referred one of their friends or family or somebody outside the
Hmm.
group to this person, to my client.
Sure.
And they gave back to the group. They gave back in, whether it be inside or outside referrals. And so it was 8 referrals versus what they had gotten in the other referral group, which is in 3 or 4 years, they had gotten 1 or 2, but it was
Right.
just 0 in the last 2 or 3 years. And they were just spinning their wheels. And she's still friends with the people in the other group. It just comes down to during the week, business is business. You got are you smart with your time? And
Right.
so that really helped my client, and it took off from there because the same mentality she took with different events that she would work or go to and attend, and it was almost like time profit. What am I doing with my time? Am I spending it wisely? Am I going to the places that I could get potentially more business out of? and am I going to the places where naturally I could give more as well? And
Sure.
how can I be more by not doing anything more, but being more of a giver mindset. So looking at the vendors that she uses, and just could she use anybody in her network for those types of
Sure.
services?
Sure. And that success begets more success. It becomes a process by which it becomes very, very strong, and it just keeps building. So that's tremendous. I'm happy to hear of how you've been able to help this gal, grow her business. That's great.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. It's about growing the business and being a
Yeah.
part of something that's great. And it's actually that group's been it's actually helped her grow as a person as well.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Build your confidence, build your profit in your business, um, build your connections. It just it's a win-win all the way around the spectrum.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, what other successes can you share with us? Well, that's a
Yeah.
great one.
So I'll share with you the most recent one I've had here. I've been coaching a financial advisor for about 10 months now. And about 2 months ago, he asked me to build him a referral group from scratch.
Okay.
Because one of the biggest things that he was having an issue with was he doesn't have enough time to go out networking. He's not hurting for business, but he wants to still ramp his business up even more than it is. He doesn't have enough time to go out networking. He doesn't have time to go do a weekly networking group or join a chamber of commerce, but he has time about an hour and a half to do a once a month referral group. So I helped him build a referral group around him, and it's in the northwest suburbs here. And we already have 6 people that are a part of it. There's a max of 15. So we're looking, and it's only 2 months in. And it's something where we built it from scratch. It's an always be connecting referral group, and we're not rushing. There's less structure than traditional referral groups. It's not associated with any other organization, so we can truly do what we want. And it's really built around
Sure.
his values and the giving mindset because he's a big time giver. So I wanted to make sure the people that we get for the referral group that's non compete that are really people that have earned the right to be in those seats and that they mesh well. And it's about chemistry, a team chemistry, and that's what we have in this group. It's really a beautiful thing. And he saw that where that came out of. He originally started utilizing my services mainly for power partner introductions. So he wanted to meet attorneys and CPAs. Those are the only two occupations he wanted to meet over the first 8 months that I helped him. And so I introduced him to about 4 CPAs and about 4 attorneys. And he liked the relationships that he got from
Sure.
those people. Not all of them worked out, but the people that he built relationships with were solid ones. And they've given and gotten referrals from each person. And a couple of them he's actually collaborated with to do
Nice.
events with. And so
Sure.
it's a beautiful thing when you can collaborate with power partners
Right.
to go after different segments or different markets or
Sure.
common clients.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Yeah, and that's awesome when you think about somebody that's already has a successful business, but just wants to grow it in a meaningful manner, and not the shotgun approach, but very specific, targeted, and once a month kind of meeting. That's powerful. So to be able to help them, first of all, I love your service of making the introductions, specific introductions. So because there are some businesses that only want to meet a certain industry segments, and going to a general networking group might be not as valuable to every business. So to be able to take that and be very defined and refined and make those specific introductions is great. So so you can help these businesses in all walks of life, not just startup businesses, not just struggling businesses, but even successful businesses grow through proper introductions.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's people that I've helped that they just hit a rut. They've been doing it for 10, 15 years. I have a restoration company, somebody who owns a restoration company, and she just got into a rut where she's got comfortable with the people, her power partners, and what she found was they really weren't power partners. They were just friends, and friends are great to have, but power
Yeah.
partners are even better. And so, how can they learn from each other? How can they grow? How can they learn how to even receive better and give better within the
Mhm.
same circle? And so, yeah, that's what it's about.
That's great. So if we have any listeners here that are interested, so if they reach out to you, how do you get started with a new prospect? Do you have a profile? Do you have an interview process? Tell us a little about how that starts, so
Yeah.
somebody might
So
know to get going.
totally. So I have a 45-minute discovery session that I do with anybody who is interested in my coaching. And so what that looks like is we just talk about their business. We talk about the why. What are they currently doing, but why are they looking to expand? How are they looking to expand? How much time do they have when it comes to networking?
Mhm.
What's worked for them in the past? Uh, what's kept them from maybe some not networking more? Maybe identify one or two problems that exist that we can
Mhm.
focus on. And
Sure.
so that's where I start. And then the conversation just takes from there. And by the end of the conversation, I usually let them know if I can help them or not. Because sometimes there's people that maybe I'm not the best person for them. Maybe it's somebody I can refer them to if they're looking for, you know, something that I don't do. Maybe it's digital marketing, and that's why they reached out to me. Well, I can handle digital marketing, but I'm not an expert, and I'm definitely not a coach for digital marketing. But I would refer them to somebody in my squad, so to speak.
Sure. Sure. So ultimately, what you're saying is that the end solution that you deliver to your client, they're oftentimes a custom solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Each person's different. I've helped people with anxiety, social anxiety, when it comes to networking. Helped people identify the proper referral partners for them. I've helped people be a better giver and make their referral sources even stronger. I've helped people build referral groups, like I said. And then even I've partnered up with Dr. Michelle Morkert, who's a women's leadership coach, for this program we're on our third cohort now. It's called Confidence for Connectors. And what that
Okay.
is, there's a crash course version of it. There's a 4-week crash course version of it, and there's a full 8-week course that we have. And it's all over
Okay.
Zoom. So it's convenient. It's group coaching. And what it's about is combining my strategy on how to strategize about being a better networker, how to be a better giver, time management, conversation navigation. How do you have better conversations with people? And how to even identify the proper power partners. How do you work and collaborate better with people? And then Dr. Michelle gets into inner critic, imposter syndrome, and more of the confidence types of the head trash that we talk
Mm,
about. Because without
sure.
confidence,
Sure.
you can't really connect as well. That's what I
That's
found.
right.
You can give people all the strategy in the world, but if they truly can't get past the barrier of what's in their head, which we're both on the call, these weekly calls, and the camaraderie that gets built on these calls is just beautiful. And it truly gives people the templates and the game plan of how to attack their week right away, implementing our strategies and the mindsets that Dr. Michelle talks about. So you get both of our coaching, and it's called Confidence for Connectors, and it's just a course that we're going to be scaling up.
That's tremendous. So this is a group session, so others can learn from each other. So the people on the call, may express, their one person may express their challenge, but somebody else on the call may actually learn from that conversation that they're having with you. So I can see where a group session could be very valuable to everybody on the call.
Definitely. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I never did group coaching over Zoom before. I never facilitated it with anybody. And so I didn't know how well it was going to go or if it was going to suck.
Mm.
But it is it's so much fun, and it's so great to see how much people can learn from each other by sharing each other's stories, because we're not alone in our struggles, and or we're definitely not alone
Accurate.
in our success stories either. And everyone was relating to each other. And what we do is what we call real coaching. There's real plays. So there's role plays, which in sales people have
Mhm.
always talked about role plays. We talk about real plays. So we would have somebody raise their hand and they would speak up and talk about what their problem is. And Dr. Michelle or I uh, would, one of us or both of us would live coach them on how to get around that problem and how to attack it in the right way. And it really shows people, hey, this is the way to attack it. And then sometimes we were like, okay, we really don't know. Maybe let's do some research on it. Or maybe they wanted a template on something, and we would provide them the resources after the call on the recap email that we'd send out each week.
Sure. Well, it sounds really powerful um, for folks to, especially like I said, build a confidence in their abilities. I've been in many networking groups with newer members that frankly don't know how to deliver a 60-second introduction, and sometimes they ramble on for 3 minutes and you're not sure what they said. So you help people in this case as well, right? So somebody like they don't know how to present themselves in a succinct, focused manner that can resonate with other listeners, other members of the group. So you help people in that area as well.
Yeah, yeah, because I definitely, if it, especially, that's always going to be coming into networking circles, whether you go to a industry specific event or you're going to a general chamber event. You always have to know who your audience is, and
Right.
your message might be different when it comes to the 60-second, 30-second, or 90-second type of deal. And you have to know really how to differentiate yourself from your competition, even, right? So if you're saying the same thing that your competition is saying, then you're going to get lumped in with your competition. But if you really talk about who you are and why you do it, that's different. Nobody can steal your why, and people will remember you. And so, but incorporating that into the 60-second is something that I definitely help people with.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and right now, the average human our attention span is about 8 seconds. So, you have to capture their attention quickly with the right message in order for them to listen to your whole 30 or 60-second introduction. So I can see where that is probably very valuable to to a lot of folks. So I'm glad to hear you helping them in that area as well. Well, that's really exciting information, Raghu. I'm proud of what you've built, and it's tremendous. And I'm thankful that you and I connected many years ago, and we cross our paths in a variety of different ways, and have shared introductions back and forth, and it's really been powerful, and you do a great job at that.
Thank you so
So
much.
you are you are one of the best in that area, and you really and you live what you preach too. I mean, you are out networking after hours events and in chambers and other trade associations constantly, and no matter what circles I run in, I mention Raghu Sundara and somebody knows who you are, and that's powerful. So, so for any of our listeners, if you have thought about networking or have been, and I've actually run into people that are not very positive about networking and the value of networking, and I think it's really born out of the fact that they've been in the wrong networking group or have approached it incorrectly. If you own a small or medium sized business and you want to grow your business in some way, I think Raghu is a person to talk to be able to learn how do you best capitalize in the market. And no matter what business you're in, there's lots of competition. There are very few businesses that have no competition. So you have to stand out a little bit, and I think you help those businesses do that.
Yeah,
So that's
I
awesome.
really appreciate all the compliments, and I'm glad we met 5 years ago. And the referral group that we're in, I've learned a lot from you. You're one of the definitely the big leaders in that group, and I know we are truly lucky to have you in our group.
Well, I appreciate that, and I enjoy being part of the groups, and I like to give back, and I love giving referrals. To me, um, I want to feed everybody I can with as many referrals as possible because I know it comes back in spades. There's a thing. It's just an effect, a karma effect almost. You plant really good seeds, and then you will be able to harvest a tremendous crop from doing the right thing and serving the right people really well. And obviously that's what you do each and every day.
Connection karma.
So,
There you
um,
go.
yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, Raghu, we're going to wrap up our show here in a second. But any last thoughts or comments you want to make to our audience um, to help them, solidify their ideas around what always be connecting, how it can help their business?
Yeah, I would just say that if you are looking to build stronger relationships, even with the existing your existing network, or you don't even know where to start. You just either bought a new business or you're opening up from scratch and you don't know where to start. It doesn't hurt to take a look at, for us to have a conversation to see if I can help you out or get you to the right people who could help you out. Because I'm lucky to have as I call it, like one of the best networks around. And it's really about the people in my network. I truly feel so lucky to be around the people that I have in my squad, and they make me better every day. And that's why I love referring them. So whether it's me or somebody in my crew, we could definitely help small to mid-sized business owners grow their business and be one step closer to being the live version of LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And actually, one point I want to clarify: um, when we talk about small businesses, a salesperson working even for a major corporation, if you have a sales territory, that sales territory is your business. You may not own the business. You may be a corporate salesperson, but if you have a territory and you want to grow your sales territory and grow your sales, you can help an individual that is an employee of a major corporation as well, right?
Definitely, yeah, yeah, because they have skin in the
Totally.
game.
So we've been talking all about small businesses, and it just dawned on me that oftentimes people think of that as being the business owner, but the reality is any person in a sales capacity that wants to sell more, grow their sales, whether they're working for a Fortune 100 company or even a mid-sized company, if they're a salesperson and they want to grow their sales, networking can be very valuable, and you specifically can help them get grow that business.
Definitely,
So, yeah,
especially yeah, especially when you talk about they're going to have a different why than one of their peers that has a different territory.
absolutely.
So what's their why? It's going to be different. So uh, it's people that take ownership in their role that want to grow their business.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, to our listeners, if you're in a sales capacity of any shape or form, whether you own a business, you work for a small family-owned business, you work for a Fortune 100 type business, if you're in a sales capacity and you are chartered and responsible for growing your business, networking can be a valuable component, and Raghu is the best person to help you get that process rolling and enhance. Even if you're doing some networking today, Raghu can help you enhance what you're doing today and become even more effective. So I really encourage you to reach out to Raghu. Raghu, share your email address again with our audience.
So it's Raghu at alwaysbeconnecting.net. So RAGHU at alwaysbeconnecting.net.
Great. Again, I'll put that on the screen for our video, our YouTube watchers. I'll include that in the show notes for our audio listeners, and make sure that everybody can get in contact with you directly. And when you do reach out to Raghu, make sure you tell him that you heard about him here on I Got a Guy podcast. And then Raghu will certainly tell me and share that information, the successes, because we love to know how where our leads come from, and it's an important component of networking. So we just gotta we connect the dots that way. So, Raghu, thank you so much for being a guest on our show this week. I really appreciate it. I applaud your success. I'm proud of what you've been accomplishing, and I'm proud to have you as one of my friends. So, thank you for that.
Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And to our listeners, I also, in addition to hosting this show of I Got a Guy podcast, my day job, my primary business is Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. We work with business owners that own commercial vehicles, and we help these business owners enhance their growth and profit through the use of GPS tracking technology. So we help business owners know where their assets are throughout the day. Now, in some cases, it's small assets like bobcats and skid steers and front end loaders. Sometimes it's larger rigs and vans and pickup trucks and semi trucks. If you are a business owner and you own commercial vehicles and you're ever wondering, gee, where is my vehicle or where is my asset? We have technology that can help you. I encourage you to reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. Our phone number is 847-865-6008. That's 847-865-6008. And you can also find us on the internet at precisefleettracking.com. Precisefleettracking.com. And we'll be able to share our information and see if we're a fit for you. Chances are we are, but we don't guarantee anything. We want to have a conversation and see if we can answer your questions and then provide you a really awesome service. So please reach out to us when you have a chance. But to our and to our general audience here, even if you're not interested in Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions, we thank you so much for listening to I Got a Guy podcast, subscribing to our channel, and sharing this. We've seen tremendous growth over the past several months, and we'll continue to ask you to share and subscribe and pass the message along. So again, Raghu, thank you so much for being with us this week. And to our listeners, we look forward to talk with you again next week. So stay tuned, and we'll talk to you all very soon. Make it a great week. Take care. Thank you for listening to I Got a Guy podcast. For past podcasts and more information, go to igotaguypodcast.com. That's igotaguypodcast.com. Please share this podcast on your social media feeds and tune in again next week to I Got a Guy podcast.